Tariq was known as the Sultan's most trusted falconer in a faraway desert kingdom. His falcons were not just fast and beautiful, they were also the kingdom's secret messengers, carrying important notes across the desert. Tariq had worked for the Sultan for many years, and everyone respected him because of his loyalty. One day, as Tariq prepared his birds for a flight, one of them came back with a message tied to its leg. Tariq took the note and opened it carefully. The handwriting was strange, something he had never seen before. As he read the message, his eyes went wide with shock. It was a letter revealing a terrible secret. The Sultan's brother, Prince Farid, was planning to overthrow the Sultan and take the throne. Tariq's heart pounded. This was huge. If this was true, the kingdom could be destroyed. But he had always been loyal to the Sultan, and now he had to figure out what to do. How could he tell the Sultan about this? Who could he trust with such dangerous news? His birds had always brought him the truth, but now this message was something he never expected. Tariq sat in his small hut, gripping the letter tightly. Outside, his falcons chirped, unaware of the secret that had just been revealed. Tariq felt stuck. He had to tell the Sultan, but how could he do that without putting himself at risk? The letter was clear. Prince Farid was already making plans and building alliances with enemies in the neighboring kingdom. Tariq couldn't keep the secret any longer. He had to act fast. He quickly wrote a note to warn the Sultan. He told him to beware of Prince Farid, though doubt still crept into his mind. What if he was wrong? What if this was just a trap? Tariq sent the message with one of his fastest falcons. He watched as it flew off into the sky, carrying the note to the Sultan's court. Tariq didn't know if anyone would believe him or if the message would be stopped, but it was the only choice he had. Days went by and Tariq waited nervously for a response. Each time one of his falcons returned, his heart raced, hoping it would be the answer he was waiting for. Finally, on the fourth day, a falcon returned with a note from the Sultan. Tariq opened it quickly and read the message. Trust no one, especially Prince Farid. Tariq's fear grew. If the Sultan knew, then the danger was even bigger than he had imagined. Farid was the Sultan's own brother, but now Tariq knew that Farid was a threat. Tariq wondered who could be trusted in the palace. He couldn't trust anyone anymore. One day, as Tariq prepared his birds, he noticed something strange. One of his favorite falcons was missing. It was a bird he had trained from when it was young. Tariq searched everywhere but couldn't find it. The missing falcon made him nervous. Was someone watching him? Had someone taken the bird? Tariq couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was happening. After days of searching, Tariq was visited by a mysterious figure. The person wore a cloak and handed him a small note. Tariq opened it, his hands shaking. It was from Prince Farid and it said, "I know what you've done, Tariq. If you do not come to me, everything you love will be destroyed." Tariq felt a chill run through his body. He had been found out, but how had Farid known? Who had betrayed him? Tariq knew he had to be careful. He had to warn the Sultan, but now he was being watched. What could he do? Without wasting any time, Tariq gathered his falcons and decided to leave his home in the middle of the night. He knew he couldn't trust anyone, and he had to act fast. His only chance was to make it to the Sultan's palace and deliver the message in person. As Tariq traveled across the desert, he thought about the danger ahead. How could he get into the palace without being caught? Who could he trust there? The desert was dark, and Tariq's only guide was the light of the moon. His falcons flew beside him, but they couldn't tell him who was loyal and who was lying. Tariq reached the palace gates just before dawn. He knew a secret path that would take him into the palace without being seen by the guards. He had used this route before, and it was his only chance to reach the Sultan without alerting Farid's spies. The air was cold, and the desert was quiet. Tariq walked carefully, the sand crunching under his feet. His falcons flew above, silently guiding him. Just as he was about to enter the gates, a voice stopped him. "Tariq," the voice said, It was Malik, the Sultan's head guard. "What are you doing out here at this hour?" Tariq froze. Malik was someone he had always trusted. Was Malik working with Farid, or was he loyal to the Sultan? Tariq had no choice but to speak. "I have urgent news for the Sultan," Tariq said, trying to sound calm. "It cannot wait." Malik looked at him carefully, then nodded. "Very well, follow me." Tariq was led into the Sultan's private chambers. The Sultan looked up as he entered. There was no anger in his eyes, just curiosity. Tariq bowed before him and handed over the letter, explaining everything. The Sultan read the note in silence. His face grew serious as he processed the news. "Tariq," he said quietly, "this is more serious than I imagined. Farid has been planning this for a while, but how did you come to know about it?" Tariq told him about the letter, the missing falcon, and the threats from Prince Farid. The Sultan was silent for a moment, then spoke again. "I have had my suspicions for some time, but now it is clear that Farid is a traitor." The Sultan quickly called his generals and officials to prepare for the worst. Tariq was asked to help guide the army through the desert using his knowledge of the land. But despite the Sultan's plans, Tariq still feared the worst. Could they defeat Farid's forces? Would anyone in the palace betray them? Word spread quickly that the kingdom was in danger. Prince Farid had already gathered his soldiers and was marching towards the palace. Tariq watched as the Sultan's army prepared for battle. He couldn't believe that it had come to this. The battle began at dawn, with soldiers fighting in the streets. Tariq was at the front lines, helping direct the army through the chaos. But as the battle raged on, Tariq learned that something even worse had happened. Malik, the Sultan's trusted guard, had betrayed them. Malik had secretly joined forces with Farid, delaying the Sultan's army and helping the prince's soldiers. Tariq couldn't believe it. Malik had been his friend, someone he trusted with his life, but now he was a traitor. In the middle of the battle, Tariq confronted Malik. "Why, Malik?" he asked, his voice filled with pain. "Why betray the Sultan?" Malik only smiled coldly, saying nothing. The truth was clear. Malik had always been on Farid's side. In that moment, Tariq knew that he had lost someone he had considered family. The battle continued, but Farid knew it was over. He fled into the desert with his men, and Tariq knew he had to stop him. He couldn't let Farid escape and continue the war. Tariq rode his fastest falcon, chasing after Farid's army. The chase was dangerous, but Tariq knew it was the only way to end this conflict. His falcon flew quickly through the night sky, and Tariq kept his eyes fixed on the fleeing prince. After a long chase, Tariq finally found Farid's camp. Farid stood alone, looking back at him with a smirk on his face. "You're too late, Tariq," he said. "The throne is mine." Tariq didn't hesitate. "Not while I still live." The two clashed, their swords meeting in the desert. It was a fierce fight, but Tariq won. Farid lay on the ground, defeated. But even in victory, Tariq didn't feel relief. The damage had been done. His kingdom had been torn apart by betrayal. The Sultan's forces arrived and captured Farid. The battle was over, but the kingdom was broken. Tariq had saved the Sultan's throne, but the cost had been high. He had lost too much, and the weight of betrayal would stay with him forever. Tariq returned to his falcons, but he was no longer the same man. He had done his duty, but the price of loyalty and betrayal was something he would never forget. He released one last falcon into the sky, watching it disappear into the horizon. Tariq knew he had done all he could, but he would carry the burden of betrayal for the rest of his life. And so the story of the falconer's betrayal lived on, a tale of loyalty, trust, and the high cost of betrayal.